Welcome to Built, Trusted, Chosen, the podcast for leaders and marketers in trades and construction, hosted by Wes Towers from Uplift 360.
Okay, hi there, Mark. It's fantastic to have you on the show today, and it was good to meet you in person maybe a month or two ago now, and find out a little bit what you're up to. So, sounds like a fascinating business you're working in, and a great way in which you go to market. So, I'm really curious to unpack some of those things as well. But maybe just to set the foundation, if you can tell people who you are and what you do.
So Mark from Virtue Fire Solutions. So we're a full suite of like comprehensive maintenance on all your fire and essential services. So pretty much anything on an occupancy permit we can maintain. So when I left school at 17 at the middle of year 11, I think it was, joined the Navy. So I spent 8 years in the Royal Australian Navy as a marine technician. And then when I got out of there, did my trade in fire sprinkler fitting. And been in the industry, spent some time as a asset and facilities manager as well. And then got back into the fire game again, and that's something I'm very passionate about. Also been a volunteer firey for the last nearly 20 years now, 20 years in September.
Wow.
So pretty much my whole life's about the fire industry, trying to prevent them, or if I'm not preventing them, I'm putting them out.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And I suppose that it lends itself to a couple of different things. So the working in the Navy, and also the volunteer firefighting that you've done for 20 plus years. There's that aspect of community and service. Do you think those set you up as good foundations, to run a business? And what did you learn? What were some of the learnings that potentially you might have been able to apply to your business principles?
Definitely about serving people. It's actually one of the reasons why we purposely put solutions in the company name. Is a lot of our other companies are protection or prevention, which is great, but we really want to provide solutions for clients. Because I'm feeling that, like, my opinion is there's a lot of assumptions and a lot of people who aren't actually educated in what their requirements are. No fault for their own. So I really wanted to provide that one-stop shop and somewhere that clients and people can come to and say, I've got this issue, or can you just look after it? So I don't have to worry about it, and they can focus on their business. And it's come through from serving people, serving the community, and it's the same sort of thing like with volunteer fiery. People don't just ring AAA the emergency number just to say g'day. They're actually ringing because they're in the worst time of their life and they want help. So that's why we respond and do what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess the prevention is far better than having a fire, certainly in a business context. And so a lot of the work, no doubt, would be compliance related. There must be a whole bunch of ticking of boxes. I feel like there'd be certainly people coming to you with just trying to make sure everything's compliant. Is that a fair say, or are some people more proactive than just ticking a few boxes?
We get quite a large variety. Some do see, because there's no, I'm not sure, like, outgoing value, like they can't turn it into a profit. It's like a bill for them. It's something that they need to ensure that their buildings are safe and compliant, so their employees and everyone can work safely and focus on their job. And it's one of those things that you hopefully never ever have to use, whether it being a fire extinguisher, a hose reel, or a sprinkler system. But if that does need to be used, you want the comfort and confidence to know that all the systems are going to work correctly and as designed, to allow time for the fire brigade to turn up and do what they need to do. And number one priority is preservation of life. So need to always make sure that their people are safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a whole different paradigm for the most part. Businesses are thinking about how do we produce a profit, and this is obviously an expense So it's kind of not necessarily on the radar all of the time, and but incredibly important. Obviously, human life is the priority. Also,
That's right.
your asset in terms of assets within the building and so on as well as secondary, of course. But there's so much value in it, but there's the perceived value maybe not not so high when it feels as though it's just a necessary expense. Do you find does that kind of make selling it tricky, or what's the process for you when someone makes an inquiry? How do you feel that the sales process goes?
Um, I think it's about explaining why um, people need to, you know, meet these compliance obligations, and it's, not many people understand, an annual essential safety measures report or what insurance companies actually require. So,
Yeah,
the insurance companies will cover, the company in case something does happen. So quite often the first thing that insurance companies will ask for is, okay, show us all your maintenance records that you've done to ensure that your site's safe.
yeah,
So
yeah,
usually the first people they come to is the fire maintenance company to say, show us your testing
yes,
records. Um,
yeah,
but it's just about being completely transparent and honest upfront with your clients, and this is what we do and this is why we do it. A lot of
yeah,
people know what we got to do, but they don't know why we're actually doing it. And some of the
yeah,
testing can be quite simple and straightforward, to be honest, but the consequences of it not working can be catastrophic.
yeah.
So
That makes a whole lot of sense. And I suppose you said something interesting on your website, that you said that you're the quiet force behind the fire safety, which is a really interesting concept of, I suppose, where did that come from? Is that kind of a personality trait of yourself, being a quiet person? I'm making a judgment, just a guess, not knowing you all
yep,
that well. It
yep.
seemed like a really interesting positioning statement for your company and brand, and I thought it was really, because you've got to be your authentic self. Where did that sort of thinking come from? The quiet force behind
I
fire
think, yeah,
safety.
I am a bit of an introverted person,
Yeah,
but the fire industry is something I'm extremely passionate about. Um,
yeah,
yeah, I could talk about the fire industry all day, to be honest. Um,
yeah,
and so it's about just showing the facts, and this is why we're doing it. Like
mm,
we're not here to we're not as like a sales team or promoting. We're just, look, this is what you need to do, and this is what the Australian standards say.
mm,
What we need to do, and how frequent, and why, and insurance companies and auditors that they're looking for this sort of thing, so you can stay open as a business.
yeah,
So yeah, it's about, we're very confident in what we do and why we do it. So
yeah,
yeah, it's about removing all the fluff around the industry.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
I love it. I love the way you've positioned that, because it makes a whole lot of sense for the business model that you're in, the compliance and the safety and the reliability, the quality assurance. All of these things are just incredibly important. And I just love the positioning and the way in which um, it reflects your own personal values and convictions. Obviously, you're a community person doing service for the community as a volunteer firefighter, and all of those things, that it sort of echoes. I think a company brand should reflect the values and convictions of a personal brand. The founder of a founder-led business should be aligned to the founder's values and convictions. I thought that was really powerful. I mean, flamboyant people should promote flamboyantly and do marketing and do a whole bunch of things. It's
but
you've got to be true and authentic to who you are, which I thought was really powerful. Another interesting thing I noticed, having read through some of your website and your material online, it might have been on your LinkedIn actually. You started in 2020. That was a crazy time to do anything. How did that come about? Why did you decide to start a business? Everyone knows what happened about that time.
yeah, it was it was really quite interesting actually. where I was working, for a fire company at the time, and as a fire services manager, and there was a few things happening I wasn't overly, happy with, and myself, was sitting down with my partner Melanie, who's also the other director in the business. Um,
Mhm.
she's a strong finance background, which has
Yep.
worked out perfectly for us as a business. Yeah, we're sitting on the couch one night. And she said, "Oh, did you realise we've got 6 months worth of savings?" Like, you know, and
Mm.
she said, "We're in a good spot." And I said, "Oh, why don't we just start our own business? Like, give it a
Yeah,
go." I don't want to be
brilliant.
80 and sitting back and reflecting and saying, "I wish I had have done that. I wish I had have done that." And
Yeah.
she said, "Oh, if you're going to do it, now's the right time to do it." So we just had our second child. So yeah, she was brand new and the start of COVID and going through that. So knowing
Yeah.
we're an essential service, we could still work.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, that night I wrote my resignation letter and yeah, met with the owner the day after and said, "Look, this is what I'm doing and this is why." And
Wow.
yeah, they were very supportive and um, yeah, gave it a crack. And yeah, once we started, I put just a post on LinkedIn just to say, "Hey,
Mm.
just say, I've gone out my own. This is what I'm doing. If you need anything, uh, let me know." And it's, yeah, it just kind of started from there, um,
Yeah.
and blew up. So yeah, no, it's going, yeah, really happy, really enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, it's such a brilliant thing. So, I mean, you and your partner felt that you had the financial backing, you had a bit of savings. So, obviously, when you start a business, maybe the income isn't uh, totally secure just yet. You don't even know which clients are going to come on board just yet, but eventually, well, you hope eventually things build, and that's an interesting thing. But you're also having a child, so that's not perfect timing by any means. And I don't think there's any. I've spoken to heaps of people about how they started their business, and the
Yep.
timing was never perfect. I think
No.
you get some things aligned, but you got to get started. You got to make that decision at some point. If it's a passion and something you want to do, you've got to figure out a way to just get started. And I applaud you for starting in COVID times where everyone is stressed. All sorts of things. But obviously, as an essential service, people needed it, so you could press on. But it must have been scary still. Was
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. What were your
I,
biggest fears, I
uh,
suppose, in the first instance?
um, I'm not so much fear, but it was just the unsurety of like the reoccurring work. Like I had a bit of a plan of what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Um, like with the savings, we thought, right, we started in October and thought, right, we can just do ad hoc jobs, like, but our savings will end in April. So I had to make sure we're
Right.
fully up and going by April. Um, but so we worked out what wages we had to cover, to ensure we could survive. And I think that only lasted the first 2, 3 weeks. We're working,
Right.
I worked out 3 days on the tools, a day in the office. Great. 3-day weekends. Let's go down to the local cafe and have coffee and go for breakfast and stuff like that. And I
Yeah.
think from about week 2 or week 3, we were going 5, 6 days a week. And
Wow.
um, during, as you know, during COVID times, I'm on the Mornington Peninsula, so we needed a passport to go from Mornington Peninsula to
Yeah.
down to the Bellarine Peninsula, the other
Yeah.
side of the
No.
bay. Like just to travel 40 kilometers, you needed a passport. So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
For those that don't know, those because we've got a global audience. Those that don't know, here in Victoria, it's probably the one of the most locked down cities in those times, and we had what was called a ring of steel. So you couldn't leave, um, the Metro
yeah,
Melbourne to go places.
yeah. But
I'm on the Ballarat side, so we were considered country regional. Yet I think Mornington was. It's kind of the similar kind of scale of
yeah,
size and everything, but you were considered metro, so you had worse lockdowns than we did, which was just nuts to think about. But
yeah.
yeah,
But one of the
challenging.
biggest things, yeah, one of the
Yeah,
biggest things I learnt though from starting was people reached out to me that I'd worked with, say 10 years prior or 15 years prior.
yeah,
Um, and they said, look, we loved working with you. like, here's a job. We want to see you succeed. And it
Wow.
was all about never and it's one of the things I was extremely grateful for was never burning bridges, never letting
Yeah.
frustrations get into the way, of what you're trying to do when you're trying to work. And for those people to reach out and say, "Hey, I remembered you. Um, here's a job." And like, "All right, let me quote for it." And like, "No, no, no, we actually trust you already."
Yeah.
So it was all those years of working with clients as a technician, um,
Yeah.
and being, just being transparent, to be honest, is probably
Yeah.
the best way to do it, to describe it. And it worked.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this show, a massive portion, obviously built, trusted, chosen. So trust is a massive aspect, and the easiest way to build trust
Yeah.
is be trustworthy. Which obviously you'd got credits
Yeah,
in the
that's it.
bank for years and years. And whilst at that time you're building those trustworthy relationships because you were doing the right thing, and even if moments were frustrating and things were challenging, you didn't have any outbursts or take it out on the clients, and they appreciated it. They probably realized there was, you know, every business has its challenges, but they probably realized you manage these things really well. And then it pay off dividends, obviously, when you launched the
Yeah.
business. Did you? So that was a massive source of business for you. Were
Yep.
there other mechanisms that brought leads through the door? Maybe did your volunteer work with the firefighting, did that open any doors as well?
No, not so much it opened any doors, but it provided
Yeah.
confidence to the clients that I did get to build relationships with, providing confidence that I knew what I was talking about. Because
Yeah.
before I quote any site, I'll actually go to site and have a look at it before I provide any quoting or reports. Um, so then having confidence that, yes, I understand the tradie side, but I also understand the other side of the fence as well from emergency services.
Right.
Okay, this is what we're doing, and this is what the fire brigade will be looking for when they get to site. So
Yeah.
I had to, and I've also, I spent a few years as a facilities manager, so I kind of knew the red tape that goes around being a facilities manager.
Yeah.
They need to become experts and masters in every different aspect of a building, so mechanical, fire, you know, lifts, doors, all that sort of thing. So
Mm.
it gave them confidence. I could give them that whole rounded solution
Yeah.
to to why we do things.
Yeah, that deep level of knowledge of what it actually looks like if things aren't done right, I suppose, or things that recover quickly if in case of, emergency. To see the outcomes. I suppose a lot of people working in the trade probably don't see the what goes wrong when things aren't done the right way and so on. To have that deep level of knowledge is obviously powerful. But you wouldn't have started doing the firefighting for that reason. It's just the benefit of being really investing for you into the community and service, acts of service, which is awesome. Um, the way I see it as well these days, and obviously we do marketing and online to a large degree,
Yep.
websites, optimization, all that kind of stuff. But with the rise of AI, it feels as though, for me, there's a lack of trust in many fields. So we don't trust what we read because it's AI written half the time, or more than half the time probably, and we don't even know if anyone's even checked it. We don't trust the images we see anymore. We don't trust the videos. We've seen, exciting videos of people who've long passed, but we don't trust them because we know they're not real. But that creates an erosion of trust. So I think the way forward in marketing is to build trust authentically, like what you're doing, but then to syndicate that message and trustworthy signals far and wide online. Broadcast what you're doing so other people can see it. So you've taken your business to be a Victorian wide company, so you wouldn't have had necessarily relationships Victoria wide. How did you go about building it out so it's not just your local region where you served people historically? How did you extend further than
Um,
your location.
yeah, it's something I'm very grateful for. We've never had to advertise or market,
Yep.
or cold call. Everything's been through word of mouth.
Yeah.
So, um, it's been a case of this building, someone's reached out, "Hey, does anyone know a fire company?" "Yep, we recommend, Mark from Virtue Fire." Then and it just grows from there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm extremely grateful for that. But just to the fact that, because I know fire systems, I don't know
Yeah.
sales.
Yeah.
So it's just, very much, look, the clients that we work with, it's about building the relationship with them. And I say to all the clients, I said, look, yes, you've engaged us, so technically you're our client, but we need to work with each other. Not, I don't work for you or anything like that. It's between the
Mm.
two of us. We need to ensure that your buildings are safe and compliant. So we need to work with each other, not for each other.
Yeah.
So building the partnership, and I think that's helped build that trust, um,
Yeah.
with the clients, and then they've been able to say, "Hey, I recommend this company. I recommend that company." Um,
Yeah.
you know, and that's how we've grown. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and
That's
a lot of our clients, they've got, right, we'll start you in this building. If you do well, I've got another 5 buildings here for you. And then by the
yeah.
end of that, term, then they go, all right, yep, here you go, here's another 5 buildings, or here's another 4 buildings, whatever it is.
Yeah. That makes a whole lot of sense, and I suppose it's still marketing, but not in the sense that you're actively pushing through, social media or any other channel, but you're building a solid reputation as a brand that's being referred. So you've got to produce obviously a great outcome for your existing clients, so they will tell other people about that. So it's a strongly brand led company, which is based on values, convictions, doing the right thing all of the time, and building solid relationships. Obviously, all the best work comes from referrals, in my view, because you're leveraging the trust of somebody else to a large degree. So if that middle person is doing the referral, there's an element of trust with that person, and you're leveraging that. So you've really got to look after people as well, based on that. With the chosen piece of the show, so obviously we've spoken a fair bit about it already, just with the
Yeah.
trust signals and getting referrals and so on. What are some of the things when someone reaches out? They say, "Hey, Jimmy referred me. He suggested I give you a call. We need X, Y, Z." Are they saying? Are giving you any insights to the types of things the referrer has said about you? Because that would be really interesting. Do you get any insights about what they said specifically that prompted them to call?
No, it's actually, a really good point. I've never actually asked that question. I've always just said, "Yep, no worries." And knowing the person has referred me, it kind of
Yeah,
gives you a bit of a spring in your step, bit of motivation to go out there and prove why they recommended you. Um,
yeah,
but not act. I've never actually asked that question, but I'll always, at the end of the site visit or the inspection or the meeting, I'll always call the person who recommended and just
yes,
thank them.
yeah,
To say, "Hey, I've just been to this site. They said that just want to say thanks for the referral, and if it works out, great. But if it doesn't,
yeah,
I'll still thank you for giving me the shot."
yeah. That's brilliant. It's so important to do that. You've probably got a few referral partners that have partners that, not in terms of any um, contract or anything like that, but just a relational thing. Some people are just natural referrers. They're looking out for other people and they'll talk about you. Have you found that there's just a handful of really great referrers who keep sending work, or is it like really broad people sending work?
Um, yeah, you've got your core clients, I suppose.
Yeah,
They're that I've built relationships with over since 2020, and some even before that.
yeah,
That I trust, and that they trust me, and they'll, whenever they're doing a networking event, or if someone says, someone's dealing with an issue and they get the phone call, their automatically first thought is myself.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's worked out. Really, really well. Just but then there's some clients who we may have just done one job for, and
Yeah.
then 6 months later, they're like, oh, this person recommended you, and I'm like, oh,
Mm.
haven't spoken to them for a long time. I only did a one-off job for them, so
Yeah.
yeah, you start that communication up again. You just give them a call, say, oh, hey, thanks for that. Yeah, if there's anything else you need, let us know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so brilliant. I've found the exact same thing. I mean, referrals are a fantastic source of business. For me, there's just been a handful of really wonderful referrals. Particularly starting out, there was this one lady, she was an older lady. She was near retirement by the time I was working with her. But for whatever reason, she took a liking to me and just sent me so many opportunities, So I think it all started from just giving her some insights for free, insights into what she could do. And, from there, she just valued the thing. So sometimes the work you do, which feels as though it's small, has the potential to grow into something massive when, that relationship is formed. And it sounds as though
Yeah.
that's kind of how it is. Sometimes the smaller jobs lead to bigger jobs. And maybe it's, you go and do a small job and then they refer you to someone who has a suite of buildings who all need stuff done. Is that kind of
Yeah,
how it works?
exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not even as much as doing a job for them, where there's a dollar value in it. It's
Yeah.
someone calling you and just asking, oh, hey, can you help me out with this? Or if I send you an email, can you look over this and let me
Yeah.
know if I'm on the right track? And, that one conversation, it may take, 1 or 2 hours of your time, but then 12 months later, they're going, oh, hey, we're going to tender. We want you to tender for it. Or,
Yeah.
hey, here's another job. So you never know what's around the corner. So, and
Yeah.
having worked with people, 15, 20 years prior to, me starting the business, is something that's always in my forefront is just try and help someone. Like
Yeah.
they're reaching out to you because they want help. They need help. So,
Yes.
don't burn any bridges. Don't get angry, and just really help people. And then you never know what's going to happen 6 months, 12 months, 5 years down the track.
Yeah. I
Um,
love the phrase,
so it's
don't burn any bridges. That's kind of suitable for what you do, isn't it? And
so
I
it's
notice,
not,
and yeah, go on. Sorry.
so it's not necessarily doing a job for someone. It's just helping them when they
Yeah.
can, just answering the phone. Yes, our technicians' hours, were 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. But if someone rings at 4:35, even like 8 o'clock at night to say, "Hey, can you help?" You're like, "Yeah, answer the phone and
Yeah.
just help out while you can." It's the feelings that they remember, not what you actually
Yeah.
did for them. Sometimes.
Yeah. And so you've got a bit of a team with you, doing the work?
Yeah. So we're a team of 13.
Yeah.
So I've got a team of electricians, a team of sprinkler fitters. A couple of them are also dual trade, so they're plumbers as well.
Yeah. Cool.
And recently engaged a draftsman full time for all the
Wow.
evacuation plans and block plans that are needed. Um, so yeah, we're constantly growing. For the first 2 years, it was just myself and partner Melanie. So I was
Mhm.
on the tools full time, and then working in the office full time. And
Mhm.
yeah, and I was using a suite of subcontractors to help the other side.
Yeah.
Any gaps in the business, and then it got to the point where like, we've got enough work. Let's start employing. So it's only been the last 3 and a bit years we've started employing people,
Yeah.
um, and it's worked out really, really well. And it's about training training the employees to how you think as well, and the attention to
Yeah.
detail.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, because we are only 5 years old, it's not so much Virtue Fire Solutions. It's Mark Turnham. It's
Yeah.
the company's known by me, which I'm trying to go through that transition at the moment.
Yeah.
So the employees are representing myself and um, as much as the company. So it's about training them up with the way that we want to see things done and get them
Yeah.
really engaged and onboarded with our
Yeah.
values.
Yeah. And such a values-led business it's super important. Have you found it challenging to firstly hire the right people who are kind of aligned or already aligned to some degree, or at least trainable, teachable to your way of doing things? Have you found that challenging, or it's
It
going
has
pretty
been.
smooth? Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it has been a bit. Um,
Yeah.
it's I'd rather yes, having the qualifications important, but it's more about will they fit in? Does their
Yeah.
culture fit us?
Yeah.
And they are the face of the company because they're the ones on site in front of the client. So it's about
Yeah.
presentation. How well do they talk to people? Communication is
Mm.
probably one of the biggest things that, probably one of the most important things that there is
Mm.
in industry. And it's how you explain yourself and how you present yourself.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I've been deliberately slow in hiring people to ensure
Yeah.
they fit. Sometimes to the detriment where you're working some ridiculous hours to get through what's needed, but
Yeah.
ultimately you want to make sure you're hiring the right person for the longevity. I've had some of the employees already say like, "Hey, I've got a job for life now. I don't have to worry again,"
Yeah.
which is a really really good feeling.
Yeah.
Um, they been able to help them grow as a person, and and they're helping me being getting the work done and being
Yeah.
good at what they do.
Yeah, and representing the brand really well. I see you've got for those just listening, you've got the uniform or the branded hoodie as well. So do all the team get out there with the branding as well?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah,
everyone's
really.
got a uniform,
Yeah,
and all our vehicles are sign written. So
yeah.
it's yeah,
That's all
quite
powerful
often. Yeah.
marketing. Yeah, you
Oh,
mentioned you don't really do marketing, but that's all really powerful brand-based marketing,
yeah,
which is super important for a business like yours, which is reputation-based. Yeah, awesome.
yeah, yeah. It's kind of, and whenever I put on a new employee, like we were saying
Yeah,
before about some trusted clients, one in particular, when I put on a new employee, I'll deliberately send them to this site and I'll give them a heads up saying, "Hey, I'm sending you a new employee. Give
yeah,
me some honest feedback at the end of the day or the end of the job. Let me know
yeah,
what you think." Um,
yeah,
and and that's worked out really well. And
yeah,
then I can give you feedback to the technicians. Uh,
yeah, yeah. That's a smart way of doing it. There's someone I don't know who coined the phrase, but always said that you hire slow and you fire fast, which is an interesting way of thinking about it. But I suppose sometimes you're really careful and intentional about getting the right person, but sometimes people present in a certain way, but then the reality is they might not be as as refined, let's say, as in the real world. So have you found any challenges like that where you've had to fire people, or not really?
yeah, had to unfortunately let go of a couple.
Yeah.
But it was a case of they just weren't. It was more attitude based.
Yeah.
Um, that it's not my, like that whole phrase, which I absolutely hate, is it's not my job. Like,
Right. Yeah.
w- like you're there doing the work that's needed to be done. Um,
Yeah.
and taking short, taking short. It's one of the biggest things I've struggled from changing from Defence Force to civil, becoming a civilian was
Yeah.
the whole "she'll be right, mate."
Yeah.
um,
I think
that
it's
shortcut and
yeah. Anyone who's worked in sort of government jobs or really large corporations where you don't have to step outside of your little world, I've kind of got
yeah,
that attitude. But I think anyone who's worked in any form of smaller business realizes you just got to chip in and do what it takes.
yeah,
That
and
family
especially if the
based.
client says, "Oh, yeah," the
Yeah,
client says,
yeah,
"Oh, hey, while you're here, can you have a look at
yeah,
this for me?" Like,
yeah,
you should be saying, "Yep, sure." And if they can't do it because they don't have the right qualification or that's a bit over what they're comfortable with, just say, "Look, yep, I can't do it, but I'll find I'll work it out and I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's it. You
yeah,
gotta really look after those relationships and have team members who will do the same. So we had my partner has a unit, and she had some works done on her roof, and for whatever reason, someone had to come back. The boss came back because something wasn't quite right, but he found that his team had left a whole bunch of screws in the gutters. Just they'd removed a whole bunch of screws from the roofing and just let them sit in the gutter, and he was horrified. So these sorts of little things, they're super simple, just to remove the screws and throw them in the garbage as opposed to just leaving in the gutter. The little things really count a whole lot,
oh,
and
absolutely. Yeah,
the
definitely.
things you
It's
can't
just,
see. Yeah. You might
yeah,
not see it
just
at
have
the
a
time, but
break.
eventually it might be revealed. Yeah. 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 So this has been a fantastic conversation. Is there anything kind of we kind of flown by, which is always meaning it's a great conversation. Is there anything we haven't sort of covered off that you really want to make sure we cover off?
Um, one of the biggest key things that within our industry that I've recently joined the state committee for the Fire Protection Association of Australia. That's one of the biggest things I'd really like to start pushing is education um,
Right.
between like construction companies and then the maintenance companies, because there is a bit of a gap between people who are really good at knowing how to construct buildings and how to put all the systems and services in, but then they don't really have an understanding of what the ongoing maintenance requirements are, and
Yeah.
vice versa as well. And then you've got that added complexity of the fire brigade coming in, saying, well, this is what we want. And because there's so many different fire systems out there and not every fire panel looks the same.
Mm.
So and it's about education with the emergency services as well, the fire brigade, to say, to teach them how systems within their assignment area or district, how all that works. So then they've got confidence in the system operating. They know how to operate it. And
Mm.
you're not left with the landlord saying, well, especially after a new building has come out of the defect liability period, the maintenance company may find a few issues. And you have the landlord going, well, where do I go? Who do I talk to? Is it a
Yeah.
construction issue or is it a maintenance issue or is it, you know, so it's about getting
Yeah.
all the different stakeholders together and to try and,
Yeah.
you know, remove any gaps. And then you've got the auditors over the top of that and surveyors also. So it's about
Yeah.
consistency and trying to get everyone to work together because we're all there to achieve the same outcome. But
Mm.
yeah, how do we work together more?
Yeah. Well, that goes to your point earlier about, in stressful scenarios, making sure you deal with people in the appropriate manner. I'm sure there's lots of scenarios where it's a little bit blurry whose fault or who's to blame, and there's always the potential to cast blame to someone else. If so many people are
Yeah,
involved in a certain something. So
yeah,
navigating those challenging scenarios is a real skill, and
yeah,
so certainly something obviously you're doing really well.
yeah. It's also, it's just a default mindset is who can I
Yeah.
blame for this?
Yeah.
It's not about the, it's not about the blame. It's okay. We've identified the issue. Now what do we do?
How
How
do
do
we
we
get a
fix it?
solution? Yeah, to your point for the business name solutions, you got to find that
Yeah,
solution in difficult times. How do you move forward? Brilliant.
yeah,
So obviously the audience is global, but a fair chunk of them
yeah.
in Australia or in Victoria. How can people connect with you if they're interested to do so?
Um, Probably the best way is through LinkedIn. I use LinkedIn a lot for
Yeah.
communication. I'm actually a big fan of LinkedIn. Um, and also, through the website as well.
Yeah,
Um,
cool.
yeah, they can, any inquiries, questions, or anything like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
feel free to
And it
send it
sounds
through.
like you're
Yeah,
going to help people out if they've got a few questions, which is wonderful. I'll put in the show notes links to your LinkedIn and your website so people can find you nice and easy. It's been brilliant. Thanks so much, Mark.
No, thank you. No, I really appreciate the opportunity. No, thanks.
Thanks for listening to Built, Trusted, Chosen. Brought to you by Uplift 360. Visit uplift360.com.au.